If you're from the Louisville area, I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the Eye Care Institute located on Story Avenue. But if you're not familiar, I have the man who knows all about it, and that is the CEO. He is Mr. Mark Prussian. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it as well.
Okay, I'm a longtime Louisvillian, love the city, and I'm very familiar with what you do at the Eye Care Institute. For those who are not, maybe give us a little bit of history first. That might set the table a little bit.
First, let me give you a little bit of real estate in Butchertown history. Butchertown was a residential neighborhood that was around for a really long time, since the 1800s actually, and it was mostly stockyards and so forth. In the early 90s, we staked out a space in Butchertown before Nulu became the shopping district it is, and in the same year that the Home of the Innocents took over the property that was previously the formal Stockyards property. So we have been part of Butchertown history since before restaurants and before bars and before other things moved into Butchertown. So we're happy to be part of that. So that's a little bit of background on how long we've been in Butchertown.
I think that's interesting because, so really you're part of the reason why it is flourishing now, because you guys were willing to, hey, take a risk. We believe in this part of town. We like the history. And now everyone's kind of jumped on the bandwagon, which is a good thing. I mean, congratulations to you.
Thank you. I'm proud of it.
You should be. All right, let's talk about the Eye Care Institute and the services that you offer, because we all know the value of vision and the importance of and eye care. But the services that you offer, if you would, Mark.
Thank you. So we offer regular eye care, eye exams, glasses, contact lenses. We also offer more life-saving services. Through an eye exam, you can tell whether you might have an onset of diabetes, whether you might have hypertension, whether you might have high cholesterol. All of these things can be tested with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. We do all of this. We perform cataract surgery, we perform laser vision correction, and we have been, except for a very short period, we have been the official eye docs for the cards for almost since our inception, and we do lots and lots of clinical trials as well.
So it would probably be easier to list the things you do not do, Mark, because they do so much there at the Eye Care Institute. Okay, now, I have to ask this because during these times it seems like it's a very common question, but COVID affected a lot of us so much. Maybe perhaps, and due to no fault of their own, there are parents out there who go, I haven't had my child checked, or I'm getting some red flags, perhaps I'm having vision problems, and because of COVID they haven't been able to see an eye doctor. Have you found this to be true?
So that is such a timely question. To enter public school in Kentucky, your child must have an eye exam, and that's whether they're starting kindergarten or whether they're moving from out of state at an older grade or moving from a private or a parochial school at an older grade. An eye exam is required to enter. And yes, we have seen a lot of people who have delayed their routine eye care because of COVID.
Mark, you mentioned that when you do an eye exam, you can tell about things like diabetes, more serious ailments. I think that is interesting. But also, if you would, from someone like you, I'd like to hear about that connection between the brain and vision. Obviously, it's there. You see folks who are, visually challenged, and they seem to do okay. But there is definitely a component that is so important to your vision that connects to the brain. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, scientists will tell you that you don't see with your eyes, you see with your brain. The eye is just the conduit, the fiber optic cable that helps you see. So there is a direct connection between what your brain thinks it sees and what your eyes see. The eyes are really interesting.
It is interesting. Talk about some of the talent that you have been able to obtain and be able to attract there at the Eye Care Institute, because I know you're very proud of some of your surgeons there, the people who are optometrists as well. Talk about that a little bit, Mark.
So we have several ophthalmologists, those are eye doctors who perform eye surgery, and several optometrists, eye doctors who perform regular eye care as well. We also have opticians. These are the people that are licensed and certified to provide glasses and contact lenses as well. We have a staff of almost 60 people, and we have an entire department that specializes in clinical trials, and that is a very high-tech, high-science aspect. Interestingly, in all of this, because of our specialties and because of the things we do, we estimate that about 50 people a week travel to Louisville by airplane and stay in hotels because of the Eye Care Institute, whether they're coming for treatment, whether they're coming to meet with our physicians or our staff, or whether they're part of the whole clinical trials process. We are actually an incubator of tourism in Louisville.
Wow. So it's not just that you have garnered the respect of people who live here in Louisville and the Kentuckiana Wave Country area. You're getting it from around the country. That's fabulous.
That's right.
Good for you.
In fact, today we have about 9 people who have flown here and are staying here in a hotel because of us.
Wow.
So yes.
All right, let's talk a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about how to make an appointment, because what I like, if you happen to have an issue and something more serious that you weren't aware of, it can all be taken care of under one roof. So if someone would like an appointment for their child, for themselves, for mom or dad, what do you recommend? Is it the information on the screen, Mark?
Call us at 589-1500, 589-1500, or visit eyecareinstitute.com.
All right, once again, Mark Prussian, he is the CEO of the Eye Care Institute. There's the information on your screen. Oh, your vision is oh so important. We'll be right back on Wave 3 Listens.